Ever put your heart into saving something everyone else gave up on only to have someone else stand in your spotlight, bragging about how they did it all? Well, I did. And years later, I made sure the truth came knocking, right when he thought he'd gotten away with it. If you've ever had someone steal credit for your hard work and you've dreamed of seeing karma hit them right where it hurts, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up. Because this story is about patience, betrayal, and sweet, sweet payback. When you spend years building something everyone else thought was already dead, you don't forget who you did it for, and you sure as hell don't forget who tried to take it from you. This story starts about a decade ago when I walked into an office that felt more like a funeral home than a place of business. The wreckage. Picture this, a company once buzzing with 50 voices, humming with machines, alive with possibility, now stripped down to 3 tired souls trying to keep the lights on. The floors felt sticky under my shoes. The break room smelled stale. Half the cubicles were just empty shells, papers scattered, chairs still pushed out like ghosts of employees long gone. I was brought in as the fixer. A fancy word for the desperate last hope. No pressure, right? I remember standing alone in that conference room on my first day, staring at a whiteboard covered in old numbers, bleeding red ink, and I whispered to myself, what the hell did I just sign up for? Turning the ship. But piece by piece, day by day, we clawed back. I reworked every process. Scrapped half the dead weight steps no one had the guts to touch before. Brought in machines that did in hours what used to take days. Pitched investors who wouldn't return my calls at first, then lined up when they smelled profit. I slept on the office couch more nights than I care to admit. My hands shook from too much coffee and too little sleep. But the numbers, the numbers turned black again. We didn't just survive, we thrived. $10 million in revenue. Real money. More importantly, $100,000 profit per head flowing right back to the parent company. I wish I could say everyone pulled their weight. But you and I both know that's not how this world works. Enter Bob. Bob came on a few months in. Decent enough on paper. He knew his way around a few machines, could troubleshoot parts when they jammed. And for a while, I thought maybe he'd grow into something more. But Bob was the kind of guy who liked the idea of being useful more than he liked being useful. He'd do the bare minimum, then drift. Spend time telling anyone who'd listen how busy he was, how complicated his tasks were. He had this way of puffing up the simplest fix into a heroic rescue. But when I looked at the actual output, let's just say, it didn't match the stories. For a while, I tolerated it. We were still crawling back to life. Firing someone means downtime. Downtime means risk. So I watched. I coached. I gave him more chances than he ever deserved. Until it was clear, Bob was dead weight we couldn't afford to drag. The hard talk. So I sat him down. I can still see him across that small metal desk, arms crossed, fake grin on his face like he already knew he'd talk his way out of it. But I kept it professional. Told him straight. Bob, here's where we stand. You've got skills, but they're too narrow for where we're going. We need players who can do more, faster, better. So you have 2 months. I'll back you for what you're good at, but I won't lie about the rest. Use me as a reference for the good parts. Keep your output up, or we cut you sooner. I'll make time for you to interview. Fair. He nodded, that fake grin flickering for half a heartbeat. But to his credit, he didn't slack off those last weeks. Small win. But a win's a win. 2 months later, Bob was out the door. Didn't use me as a reference. Smart. He found a slot at one of our partner companies. Good for him. Good for us. Clean break. Or so I thought. The lie. Years pass. The company I revived is humming along. We're stable. We're growing. I'm working double shifts trying to steer us into new contracts. Long hours, but I never forgot what we'd dragged ourselves out of. Then, one day, I'm flown out to visit a partner site. Routine trip. Nothing fancy. Shake hands, check the numbers, grab cheap hotel coffee on the way home. Except when I walk into the lobby, guess who's there, right next to my main contact, Charlie? Bob. He's wearing this smug half-smile like we're old buddies. Like I'm supposed to grin and pretend we're the same. We shake hands. It's stiff. Awkward. But fine. I can fake it. I'm a grown man. But then Charlie says it. You must miss Bob. Man, you were lucky to have him, he really turned things around for you guys, huh? Total game changer. He told me how he fixed the systems, revamped the whole supply line, trained the team, really got you guys out of a mess. I swear, the air in my chest just stopped. I looked at Bob. He didn't even flinch, just stood there, nodding, fake humble like or shucks, don't give me all the credit. Charlie must have sensed my silence, so he threw in this half-hearted, well, I mean, you helped too, right? I don't remember exactly what I said. Something safe. Something like, well, I'm glad Bob found a good fit. Inside, I wanted to flip that conference table right over. I could feel my pulse pounding behind my eyes, this molten, crawling anger buzzing through my fingertips. All those nights I spent pouring my life into fixing that place, while Bob sat there, feet up, bragging about how busy he was. And now, years later, he'd rewritten the story. And people believed him. The slow burn. I wish I could say I confronted him then and there, but I didn't. Because sometimes, revenge needs to simmer. Years went by. The company did fine without me when I moved on. New storms hit, COVID knocked the whole industry sideways. But I'd left it in good hands, I'd made sure of that. Meanwhile, Bob kept doing Bob. I'd bump into him now and then. Small talk. Fake smiles. Performative nods about keeping in touch. He'd stand there acting like we were equals, like we'd both carried the same weight. But here's the thing about parasites. Eventually, the host catches on. Karma knocks. A few years later, long after I'd moved on to my next adventure, I got a call from the GM I'd personally hired to steer my old ship. Good guy. Smart. Loyal. He says, hey, Bob applied for a big role. Says he basically transformed the whole place back in the day. Says he saved us. You two must have done great things together, huh? There it was, my moment. I paused. I thought about all the times I'd bitten my tongue. All the nights I'd driven home with my throat tight and my fists clenched. All the times Bob played hero with my work. And I told the truth. No rage. No drama. Just cold, clean truth. Here's what Bob's good at, fixing machines when they jam. His average, sometimes useful. But if he says he turned this place around, he didn't. He was there while I did it. That's all. You want that skill set, cool. You want a savior? Look elsewhere. The payoff. The GM thanked me. We hung up. A few weeks later, Bob didn't get the job. Did he ever know it was me? Probably not. Or maybe he guessed. But it didn't matter. Because Bob learned something the hard way. You can only wear someone else's armor for so long before it rusts right off you. And sometimes, karma looks like an old door that closes and locks behind you forever. Picture Bob in his cheap suit, polishing up his resume, telling himself this was his moment, the big break. The phone call never comes. The emails dry up. He's left wondering why the dream job slipped through his fingers. Meanwhile, I'm somewhere far better, smiling, knowing that truth has a way of cutting sharper than any lie. And the seat he thought he deserved. Still empty. Waiting for someone who earned it. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's not a smack in the face. Sometimes it's just telling the truth at the perfect moment and watching karma do the rest. If this story made you believe in karma again, smash that like button, share your own credit stealer revenge story in the comments, and hit subscribe for more true stories that prove the universe does keep receipts. This is Revenge Central, where the truth always wins.